Margot works as one of the moderators for the popular video platform Kino, and her job is to approve or reject videos that users have reported. One day, she comes across a strange clip that supposedly shows a man being decapitated, but since it doesn't look very realistic, Margot approves it for publication. Soon another similar video appears, then another one, more convincing this time, and when Margot decides to find out who's uploading them, she draws the attention of a serial killer recreating iconic moments from the old horror film Faces of Death. At one point in the story, one of the characters says that the original Faces of Death, released in 1978, was the first viral video in human history, and it's hard to disagree. Less a conventional movie than a compilation of real footage of disasters and deaths mixed with staged material, Faces of Death was censored or outright banned in a number of countries. In the West, VHS tapes were sold under the counter and passed around through friends. Humans fear death, but they're also irresistibly drawn to it. That combination of existential horror and morbid fascination gave Faces of Death cult status and eventually turned it into a full-fledged franchise, spawning several sequels throughout the 80s and 90s. The 2026 version of Faces of Death is neither a sequel nor a remake, but rather, let's call it a meta-reboot. A narrative horror film in which the original movie plays a crucial role in the plot. Director Daniel Goldhaber and screenwriter Issa Mazet don't hide the story's second main character, Arthur, played by Dacre Montgomery. Almost from the very beginning, he's shown gathering seemingly random people in his basement so he can recreate key scenes from the original Faces of Death. In Goldhaber and Mazet's conception, Arthur is very much a product of our era and its environment, raised and shaped by violence and horror. He craves attention and fame, using death as a way to achieve them. Arthur has nothing personal against his victims. He isn't taking revenge on anyone. To him, both the victims and their filmed murders are simply tools that help him get his twisted dopamine fix. What interests Arthur in this new Faces of Death isn't so much the killings themselves as the audience's reaction to them. The filmmakers explicitly articulate this moral dilemma. If videos like these didn't attract so much attention and spark so much discussion, there would be far fewer of them. Arthur is chasing likes and engagement, and modern recommendation algorithms, which promote whatever people respond to most, are entirely on his side. It's an intriguing and, in its own way, fairly thoughtful idea. But Faces of Death is far from a masterpiece. Yes, it's built around a compelling premise, but there's not much in it that feels truly exceptional. Even this promising concept is explored only superficially. The filmmakers skim the top layer of the cause and effect chain, wag an accusatory finger at social media, sigh sadly, and then switch into straightforward exploitation slasher mode, constantly stumbling over cliches and genre conventions. Faces of Death does feature some interesting technical ideas, along with uneven but memorable performances from the already mentioned Montgomery and Barbie Ferreira as Margot, yet the film never quite figures out what it wants to be. At times it gives off the vibes of Timur Bekmambetov-style screen-life techno-thrillers. At others it channels the icy POV terror of Frank Calfoun's Maniac. Elsewhere it slips into Saw-style torture exploitation. The social commentary and metatextual touches have led many Western critics to invoke Scream, but that film worked first and foremost because it was a near-perfect slasher with impeccable pacing and an explosive finale. Unfortunately, the third act of Faces of Death turns out to be the weakest part of the movie. This is a film playing in a very different league,